What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So check this out. We've been talking about Sunset Overdrive going to PC for a while now. Well, we'll actually have more information on that from Amazon, and it's actually being published by a company that we keep talking about here. And we're actually going to talk about them a bit more later on, as it looks like THQ Nordic is bringing several games now over to the Switch, and some of them are even going to be physical, which is pretty cool. And then Nintendo looks like they won their lawsuit against that ROM site, and they got a good chunk of change from them. Makes me wonder how much that place was actually making. Anyway, guys, as always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure you do hit the like button. It does help out. Also, the giveaway for Pokemon Let's Go is ending tomorrow. That'll be the last time you can enter, so if you've missed that, you can enter down in the link in the description. Let's start with some quick news today, guys, and we're going to start right away with Sunset Overdrive for the PC. At least we're pretty sure it's coming to the PC, as it seems like it's leaking all over the place. We saw it in a Steam database. We've seen it trademarked all over the place. We've seen ratings boards rate it, and now Amazon has actually listed it so far at time of this recording ahead of any announcement. Now, an announcement could just happen at any time, as THQ Nordic, who appears to be publishing it according to the Amazon listing, just drop stuff anytime. And you can see that Amazon listing here. And what's interesting is it says to be releasing November 16th, which is this Friday, guys. This Friday, which means it has to be announced today or tomorrow. And apparently you could just pre-order it now on Amazon for $20. And what's really cool is all the DLC appears to be included according to Amazon's own description. It's pretty awesome to see that, so that everything will be included. $20 is the price that I said it should be. And it's going to come to PC, of course, meaning it's going to have all of the cool sliders and graphical effects, and you can max that sucker out. Very neat to see. It's going to be, I guess, a quick announcement and then release. And if it's going to be on Steam, it's just going to probably pop up there anytime now. Pretty cool to see, and I'm hoping a lot of people will check it out and buy into it, because I did like the game, and I would like to see a Sunset Overdrive 2 happen, and I'm thinking the PC crowd will actually pick up this game pretty well, as I think it's going to look really neat on like a 4K monitor. This could also lead to an Xbox One X enhancement patch, maybe? We'll see. Oh, also, I've been meaning to talk about this for a while, since they put this out from EA with Battlefield 5. You may be seeing people playing Battlefield 5 randomly at different times, and you're like, well, I go to the store and I don't see it there. That's because there are literal tiers, and you need a whole chart to see when you can buy it and play it. Check this out here. This is actually put out by EA on their own website, and you can see all the different times and places that you can buy into it and actually play the game. You can see on PC, the November 9th, if you have Origin Access Premier, you can just apparently play it. Then there's the Origin Access Basic that'll give you a 10-hour trial, and then you also have that same 10-hour trial with EA Access. PS4 is just nothing, obviously, because it doesn't have the EA Access set up there. And then, of course, if you want to buy the Deluxe Edition, which is more expensive, that's November 15th, and then you can get it November 20th, like all the peasants, apparently. Standard Edition, and this is just where we are now. EA is staggering the release of this game, apparently. This isn't new. We've seen this before. Microsoft's even done it with things like Forza, so it's not like this is a brand new thing, but it's still funny to look at how EA is putting out, seriously, a chart to show when you can actually play this game. It's just a way, I guess, to get more money out of the hardcore fan base, whether you're subscribed to their subscription service or you're willing to spend $80 instead of $60. It's all over the place, but it's funny because you can look on your friends list and say, oh, they're playing the game, but I can't go to the store and buy it. Yeah, it's because you got to look at this chart and kind of cross-section where your time would be to start playing. Also, it looks like the Switch could be getting Smite coming to it soon. In a recent data mine, they found the Switch Founders Pack, which, as you can see here, comes with several different skins. Now, Smite is a third-person MOBA-style game that's pretty actiony, has a pretty big esports scene even around it now, and a decent following, and people seem to really like the game, and it makes sense why they're trying to get it on all the different platforms. It's already on the Xbox One, then the following year, in 2016, it went to the PS4, and now it looks like it's coming to the Switch at some point. It could technically be announced at any time because, I mean, it's a free-to-play game, so it's not like you have to think about when you're going to set up and buy it. They could literally announce it on a Tuesday and it releases that Friday or something. But the fact that they found a Switch Founders Pack, yeah, that makes sense that it's probably coming to the Switch, and of course, the success that free-to-play games like a Fortnite, which has apparently been downloaded by more than half of all Switch owners, which tells us it's probably being played by at least more than 10 million people at some point in time. Yeah, that makes sense why games like Warframe and Smite would be coming over. All right, guys, some of the quick news out of the way. Let's jump into some of the bigger stuff. We're starting with THQ Nordic. I keep telling you guys, pay attention to them. They're buying up a lot of IPs. They're remastering, even remaking a lot of them as well to probably get money back, but there's a lot of people who actually enjoy some of those older games, so they're really happy that they're being remade. I did like Red Faction Remastered Edition. I thought that was a pretty fun game to bring over, put it in 4K and everything. And then they also did Sphinx, the Cursed Mummy, that I actually played on my PC and liked it a lot. And it looks like they're bringing a couple different titles to the Switch in early 2019, and one of them is indeed Sphinx. As you're seeing some gameplay here for it, it was on the PC and they smoothed it out. It looks really nice. And I actually played Sphinx back in the day on the GameCube, and that was back in 2000. I want to say it was 2003. Like, it was like holiday 2003 around there, because I remember getting it for Christmas one year, and I really liked this game. It was kind of back in the day when we had a lot of these type of 3D platformers, but I do remember like the frame rate was very high on it with the GameCube and the PS2 as well. Those are the two systems I actually played it on. I never played it on the original Xbox, but Sphinx is a good one, and they're actually doing these games physically and digitally early 2019. Looks to be Sphinx is going to be $29.99. And then the other games that we're talking about here include The Book of Unwritten Tales 2 and then The Raven. The one that I can definitely tell you to check out that I really like is Sphinx and the Cursed Mummy. It's a game that I really like, so I'm going to be checking it out, and it's pretty neat to be able to buy it again physically, because when I picked it up on Steam, of course, it was just digital. I think it was $19.99 when I picked it up. I have to double check that, but it ran well on the PC. Everything was pretty good there, so I'm excited to see it come over to the Switch. That's the one out of these three that I'll probably be checking out, as I didn't really have an experience with any of the other ones, but definitely check out Sphinx. That's an awesome game to check out. And THQ Nordic, like I said, they keep buying stuff up. We just talked about how they're publishing, apparently, Sunset Overdrive on the PC. I keep telling you guys, keep an eye on them, because they're the ones who have Time Splitters right now, and I think they have some plans for that. Next up, let's talk about this interesting lawsuit that Nintendo appears to have won. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense for what Nintendo's trying to do when battling ROMs, because it's going to be hard for them to go after every single website. So they have to make an example, and an example they made here, absolutely. So remember we talked about, for example, LoveRoms.com was being sued, and LoveRetro.co, I believe, was like another one, but LoveRoms was definitely the big one that they were going after. And we actually made a video here, and we talked about it being a up to $100 million penalty. And they apparently were going to go to court, and then they managed to settle with a $12 million judgment. And this is very interesting for a couple reasons. In fact, Torrent Freak managed to get a hold of the unsigned document, as you're seeing here. And yes, it does mention $12,230,000. And what's interesting here is this is a married couple that is admitting that there was indirect copyright and trademark infringement. If you remember, on their website, they used Mario and Piranha Plant and Bullet Bill and all kinds of Mario and just Nintendo images in general, alongside of all of their ROMs. I think that was the bigger issue there. I know the ROMs were a big deal, obviously, but definitely all of their imagery was using all over the place. And Nintendo kind of mentioned that they thought they were making a lot of money, but they didn't seem to want to go to court, and whether it's because they didn't want to put this in front of a jury because they would laugh at the $100 million mark, or it just may have not gotten resolved in the, for example, married couple's favor, they both decided to come to an agreement of a judgment here. What's interesting, though, is they're going to have to turn over both of those sites to Nintendo, so the LoveRetro.co and the LoveRoms.com. Both of those are being turned over to Nintendo, and I'm very doubtful that this married couple has over $12 million they're going to pay out to Nintendo. I see this more than likely as a way for Nintendo to hold this up and say, don't mess with our ROMs, don't mess with our copywritten images, or this could be you. We were able to get a judgment of $12 million against this site. This absolutely was a way to show everyone that you should be scared of using ROMs and their images. And I mean, we've seen ROM sites already fold after this was kind of shown around. Remember MU Paradise? They just got out of the way. They're like, we're not gonna do ROMs anymore. We'll do emulators, we'll have the forums, no more ROMs, because this is a legitimate thing that could happen. I'm not really sure what's gonna happen with that 12 million, if they even reach possibly behind the scenes further a settlement for less. I mean, it might not be that much, to be honest, or maybe they'll work out some kind of bankruptcy, or who knows. I don't even think Nintendo is expecting to get $12 million. I think they want it to be publicized that this is a penalty that can happen, and if you're a big enough site, this can obviously ruin you and put you out of business, or in some cases, this is a married couple, obviously damage their life for financially pretty much forever. So we'll see if they end up paying it out or anything. This appears to be an unsigned document that Torrent Freak was able to get a hold of. However, it sounds like both parties are just going to go ahead and sign it and be done with it. And Nintendo gets to, I guess, put this out there and tout that you shouldn't get our ROMs and you shouldn't use our images, or hope that next 12 million could be aimed at you. Next up, let's talk about Red Dead Redemption 2. Specifically, the input lag. Now, if you've heard people talk about this, there's a lot of times it comes up that the movement feels weird or feels off, or that button presses and stuff are delayed. And I think for the most part, the consensus is the game itself is extremely ambitious. There's a ton of attention to detail. The environment is amazing, but the controls are probably the weakest part of the entire game. And it's not like Rockstar has been known for great controls anyway. Well, someone on YouTube actually decided to push it a bit further and see what the input lag actually was. This is actually Dan Lowe from YouTube, and this is what they found. You can see this chart here, and yeah, it's a significant difference from the others, which they did kind of pair this up against things like Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Spider-Man, and then Uncharted The Lost Legacy, and Destiny 2. Destiny 2 absolutely should have the lowest when it comes to input lag, as it is a shooter, first-person shooter. However, you can just see that Red Dead Redemption 2 frames between full stick deflection and any kind of response is 11 frames, and then frames between full stick deflection and capsule camera motion is 14 frames. And then the next one closest to it is Uncharted The Lost Legacy at 6 and 10. So yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2 does have some input latency issues. However, I kind of look at that and realize that refresh rates on certain TVs are not exactly the lowest, but still, it's not like that's helping anyone out. I play on a monitor that has a 1 millisecond refresh rate, so I absolutely feel this. And I notice sometimes when I'm playing, I shoot twice because when I first pull the trigger, nothing happens. So I press it again, and then my character shoots twice, and I use 2 bullets. And it's interesting to see this situation. Now, people are asking Rockstar to release a patch to fix this, but there's also people thinking this might be intentional to try to make it feel more realistic. It's an odd thing to do it that way, to add serious latency to your controls. But maybe that's something Rockstar had a strategy for, and that's what they wanted to do. It is the weakest part of the game that's otherwise brilliant, and if they could fix that, that would be awesome, because I think at that point, there's really not a lot of flaws outside of some of the tedious aspects to it, because the world itself really does feel alive. Then our last bit of news, Five Nights at Freddy's is actually coming to the Switch, it seems. Now, this was made in a statement by the creator himself, Scott Cawthon, when he talked about this on Steam, saying, "I'm working closely with the people at Click Team to create new, improved HD ports of all of the original games. They will be released on Android, iOS, Switch, Xbox, and PlayStation." Now, what's interesting here is it might be a little while before we see this as they go on further to talk about this. Could be sometime in 2019, but it looks like they just kind of threw the Switch in there casually. Makes sense, right? I mean, the Switch would obviously move more and more copies of Five Nights at Freddy's, which may have dipped in popularity since it really jumped during its time when it first came out, and YouTube mixed with that. Really, people were doing Let's Plays. There were tons of really good theories out there for the story, and it was a pretty cool idea. I never really got into the game myself and playing it, but I did enjoy watching other people play it on YouTube, because there were a lot of people who actually had good reactions to it. And then I loved watching the theories for the story, but I get that this was insanely popular at the time, and it's still going to be popular for a lot of people to play. I like the idea of them doing just HD images and visuals for all the systems, and the fact that it becoming the Switch just helps out as well. So if you're on any platform, I guess you can look forward to the improved visuals probably sometime next year, and if you're waiting for it to come to the Switch, you can look forward to that as well. We'll see if they incorporate anything with HD Rumble or any other features they can use for the Switch, but otherwise, you can at least look forward to it coming to pretty much all platforms at this point. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the like button. It does help out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about today, whether it is Nintendo and taking down this ROM site and somehow getting $12 million, and does this pretty much put all the other ROM sites on notice, as Nintendo managed to not only get them to court, and actually get money out of them and settle before they even went there. So it was very quick. We talked about it recently and boom, it's done. Also, let me know what you think about THQ Nordic and how they're just moving games all over the place and publishing games. Seems like they're the next place to, or at least publisher to keep an eye on. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you next time.